Hello everybody, in this video I have some more junk journaling to share with you. This video is kind of a bit of a continuation from my last video, which was for the Junk Journal January YouTube hop. I said in that video I really loved the prompts for the Junk Journal January challenge this year, but just sadly I really couldn't make the time or find the time to do the challenge in full this year. I couldn't do every prompt every day sort of thing. So I thought what I would do is choose some of my favourite prompts from the list and make a couple of pages from them. So I printed off the prompt picture from Instagram on my Memo thermal printer just so I had it handy for reference, and I just randomly picked a prompt to get me started, and the one that kind of really stood out to me at first was the torn edges one. So I'm going to start off with a really simple page that I end up completely loving, all about torn edges. So I'm using scraps of Tim Holtz worn wallpaper. And as you see, I have torn the edges of those. I'm going to have 3 layers, which I'm going to build up on top of each other. Now, they didn't cover the entire width of the page, and I didn't have another scrap to use, so I thought I would just fill in that gap with some washi. So I did just some pretty standard black and white vintagey looking floral washi. I'm going around the edges of all those torn edges with Distress Oxide in tea dye. I can't speak today. Tea dye to add that vintagey effect, and then I'm layering them up like that. And with the 2 larger pieces, I am just adding the double-sided tape to the left hand side and the bottom, so I can make those into little pockets as well. So I'm going to slip in bits of journaling underneath those torn edges. I am just going to cut down that prompt list that I printed off, go around the edges again with the tea dye, stick it on another scrap of the paper so it stands out a bit, and then stick that down. So I just have the prompt list somewhere in my journal kind of explaining what I'm doing to myself. And I'm also going to just take a tiny little sort of fine liner pen and underline each prompt that I do as I do them. And then I'm also going to journal about the fact that I wanted to do the full challenge. I couldn't really find the time for it, but I wanted to play with some of the prompts. And then I also spoke about being part of the collaboration on the 1st of January and all that sort of thing. So I'm going to add my journaling onto some vellum. Surprise, surprise, it's my favourite thing, journaling on vellum. And then slip those pieces of vellum in those little pockets I created behind the torn edges. The first piece of vellum, that little one there that I'm playing with, is one of those ones. I put them in some of my junk journal and creative journal kits. They're like printed vellum little tickets and frames and all sorts of things like that. There's loads of different ones, but I've got that one because it was a nice size. I'm going to do some journaling on that. And then I also tore another scrap from just a larger piece of normal vellum to fit in the slightly larger pockets. I've journaled on there using a Pigma micron pen because it's the most reliable I find to write on vellum with, and slip those into those pockets. And that's it for that page, but I really like the way it turned out. Like, it was super simple. It didn't take long at all, but I think it looks great personally. Next, I wanted to play with this book. This is the Extraordinary Things to Cut Out and Collage. I may have got that title wrong, but it's something like that. And I was going to play with the floral prompt because obviously I see the floral prompt and I'm like, yep, I need to do that one. So I went through and found some flowers to work with, and then I also pulled out the botanical sticker book. The botanist sticker anthology. There it is. That's the proper name for it. And I remembered in these books, and it's the same for like the antiquarian sticker book and other ones of this kind of type, there's often these really massive like page-sized stickers that I'm never entirely sure what to do with. So I looked through to find one of those, and I thought I would just use one of those really big ones as a background for this floral piece. I did make a mistake here. I always talk about how I add extra glue to these stickers from these sticker books because they're not very sticky, but I completely forgot here. So I do have to go back, and where I've folded it over the edge of the page, I glued that down, and then I've put that washi at the top and bottom, and that's going to help keep it down. And then later on I add another layer of washi just to help stick it down because, as I said, I made a mistake and forgot to glue it. gonna fussy cut out those little pieces from the collage book and then work out a vague sort of collage something or what I'm going to do with them. I also wanted to incorporate that little pocket that's sewn into my journal from a little gift bag sort of thing, because that would also cover another prompt of pockets. So I thought I would sort of extend the collage onto that as well. But I wasn't loving the yellow colour. It was a bit too bright. It wasn't the kind of vibe I was going for. So I went back into the sticker anthology and found like a nice rectangular sticker that would mostly cover up that pocket. So I pulled that out, stuck that down, and then stuck that leaf on top of that as well. And then the way I'd stuck it down, there was still some yellow kind of peeking out awkwardly from the edges, and it didn't look great, to be honest. You can see it there, just like a bit awkward. So I just took some washi and went around the edges with that, and then trimmed the washi where it went over the pocket, so I could still actually use the pocket as a pocket. I just used the word pocket like 8 times in one sentence. Anyway, after that, I was a bit stuck. I was like, what am I going to do next? I have no idea what to do. And then I remembered another prompt I wanted to play with, which was fabric. So I thought I would create a fabric layer over the top of the floral collage. Now, that thing I was cutting out there, that was kind of like a net bag which had some cat toys in it. So I cut out using pinking shears that piece from the bag, and then I've pulled out some other scraps from my fabric collection, just bits and pieces, some lace, some other fabric that I'd used to make a journal a long time ago, just all sorts of bits and pieces. And then I wanted something also paper on there, like some sort of words of some sort, so I pulled out that really pretty journaling card, and I've gone into a Happy Planner sticker book to find some nice little phrases and stuff to put on that, so it has a title. I did keep going back and forth to my sewing machine to sew various bits on. You can see there I've already sewn down the fabric scraps and a piece of lace at the top, and that little journaling card as well has been stitched up to the top. And then I added this Tim Holtz quote chip. I took most of the chipboard backing off of it and then stitched the top part on it. The life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. I just thought it worked well, and it gave the fabric a bit more structure because it was so heavy with stuff at the top that it got a bit, the structure wasn't very good at the bottom. And then I stitched that into my journal, which is always a bit of a faff, but you just sort of have to pull the page out and bend your journal back on itself. One thing though, if you are stitching into your journal, like straight onto your journal, don't let the needle come too close to the spine as you're stitching, because you will bend the needle on your sewing machine. And how do I know that? It's because I've done it before. So yeah, be careful with that. And then finally, I wanted something in that little pocket, so I pulled out one of these Tim Holtz journaling cards. I wanted one of the long ones, so it really stuck out of the pocket, but it was a little bit too wide, so I'm just tearing off the edge there. I'm going to add some journaling that's kind of related to the quotes and the phrases that I put on the fabric piece. Oh, going around it with tea dye, of course, because I have to. I'm going to stamp the date with a roller date stamp and some archival ink in sepia, one of my favoritist inks to use. And then I was about to put the card into the pocket, and then I decided I wanted to decorate the front of the pocket as well. It needed that personal touch to me, because obviously it's pretty enough as it is, but I always feel like I need to add my own personal touch to things. So I'm just pulling out a couple of these little bits from my stash of stuff I've stolen from my own shop stock, just pretty little vellum pieces and floral stickers and all sorts of happy, lovely things to make a very, very simple collage. And then I decided, because there were so many lovely, positive, happy quotes on one side of the page, I would pull out the Tim Holtz snarky comment stickers and have something a bit snarky on this journal card, because, balance it out a little bit. I can't remember which one I used, actually. What does that say? Oh, it's something like, I thought I was in a bad mood, but it's been a few years now, so I guess this is who I am, or something along those lines. I don't know. They just make me laugh. I like putting them in my journal for a laugh. So, that's that page done. Really, really love that page. I'll tell you the truth, I was really proud of that one. I love the fabric layer on it, just all the texture and florals and things. Yeah, really love that one. And then I went back to that prompt list and crossed out the prompts that I'd covered in that one, which was florals, fabrics, and pockets as well. And then I wanted to do one more page, and I think the prompts I used for this one were Stamp It Out, Antique and Sepia. So I thought I would do a stamped background first using sepia ink. That kind of covers two at once. The stamps are from Prima Marketing. It's two different sets that I use. One is Don't Forget to Fly, maybe, or Don't Be Afraid to Fly. Oh, I can't remember. I will try and link them if they are still available. And then once I've done that background, which I'm not over fond of, I thought I would do some stamping on both vellum and onion skin paper with archival ink, because that's the best ink to use on vellum or any kind of like non-standard paper so it doesn't smudge. Yeah, just stamping some elements so I can fussy cut them out and use them as ephemera or something. I will say this is not my favourite page. It's fine, but I'm not completely in love with it. But I kind of had to stop and think for a minute. I was like, I don't have to love every single page that I do. I think sometimes we always think that we have to like be so proud of every single page, especially those of us who share here on YouTube or on Instagram or whatever. Like every page has to be stunning, and that's just too much pressure to put on yourself. You should be free in your journal to like make a mess and make not the best pages. So yeah, I don't love it, but I don't hate it also. It's not my favorite, but that's okay. So I just kind of had to sit down and remind myself of that. So yeah, anyway, to keep with the antique and the sepia theme, I've cut out this card which is from my Victorian Portraits collection in my Etsy shop. It's stickers and cards and ephemera, but this is one of the cards. I thought, you know, it's antique and sepia. And then this scrap of paper I'm going to use in the background is also antique. It's from, I can't remember the exact date, but it's like 1860 something, so decently antique paper there. That paper goes in my large junk journal kits if you are interested. And I do have as well some really old folio pages which are from 1795. Those go in the bumper kits, but I didn't have any to hand, otherwise I would have put it on this page. Anyway, I'm layering up all the different elements, those things that I stamped and fussy cut out. The vellum I'm putting down with like a glue runner tape. I find it's the best thing for small pieces of vellum. The onion skin paper is fine just using a glue stick. And yeah, it's more like an art journal page, this one, because there's not really any writing or anything. I was just having fun playing with different things and different elements. It did need some kind of title though, so I went back to the Tim Holtz quote chips and chose, what does this one say? Collector of Curiosities. I thought that works for me because I find all sorts of wonderful, awesome things for my shop, all sorts of vintage and antique things, and it works for like being in a junk journal as well. So yeah, I thought that was a very appropriate phrase. Stuck that down there, and then it just, I don't know, I wasn't happy at this stage. So I went back to my own Victorian Portraits collection and pulled out a couple of stickers, went around the edges with a dark ink. I think that's stays on ink in Timber Brown maybe, and yeah, just so they stood out a little bit. And then I'm using a Stabilo woody pencil here in a sort of peachy pink colour to go around the edges, and then I'm going to take an aqua brush or a water brush and activate the colour. Just, I don't know, it just really helps everything stand out with a bit of colour all around it like that. And I think, is that the last thing? Oh no, I'm going to add splatters to it with Distress Oxide spray in Tattered Rose. Oh, and I'd used Vintage Photo spray before that as well. But before I added the splatters, I thought I would just check off the things on the prompt list, go over my pages again just to show you what they look like, and then I did the splatters because obviously they would need to air dry. But yes, once I have done those, that is it. That's the end of the video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope maybe I gave you some ideas for the prompts if you're doing Junk Journal January. If you're one of the people who have found my channel thanks to the YouTube hop, then a big hello and welcome. You've all been so lovely in the comments of that video. Like, I was just like so honoured and happy and everything, and it really made my month, that video, and all the lovely people saying hello and stuff. So anyway, I'm going to shut up and go. Relevant links will be in the description box. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Chat to me in the comments, and yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you so much again. Bye bye.